Thank you, everybody, for being with us this evening. My name is Alkina Aldridge, and I have the absolute pleasure of serving as your Director of Engagement and Economic Empowerment. We've already had the opportunity to work through tonight's sort of first hiccup in this virtual environment. So I ask that you continue to be patient with us and also work with us through that. I also am just given the fact that this is a virtual environment and our team, like it's just fun to really be able to say hi to so many faces that we haven't seen in person in a while. So I also wanted to just thank you all for being here and engaging in this way that's really different for all of us. And I want to give a quick shout out and sort of roll call to the organizations that are here, but also so that we all have an idea of who is in the room. So tonight, present, we have Kennedy Park Neighborhood Association, River Park Neighborhood Association, and Business Association, the Northeast Neighborhood Council, the Near Northwest Neighborhood Organization, the Near West Side Neighborhood Organization, SOAR, 466 Works, Monroe Park Neighborhood Association, and their partner Habitat for Humanity, the Far Northwest Side Neighborhood Association, the East Bank Business Association, South Bend Heritage Foundation, Odom Community Developers, Rum Village Neighborhood Association as well. Trucker Institute, I saw Fred Teague here and our partners with the Lifelong Learning Initiative. We have Mr. Gadsden in the South Bend Tenant Association, hopefully La Casa de Amistad this evening, Howard Park Neighborhood Association, Lincoln Bendix Park, and LaSalle Park. So in a sense of turnout in a virtual environment, you guys are already killing it and are exactly the team that we're looking forward to pushing this initiative with championing it with you, if you will. Mayor Mueller introduced our team in his role as former executive director of the Department of Community Investment with the purpose of forming closer connections and bonds with our neighborhood organization. So over the past few years, we've had the absolute pleasure of engaging directly with you all and collaborating to solve some really tough problems. We think that the neighborhood council is foundational to really leverage and be able to do more of that work in a sense of understanding what you need to have active, strong, and resilient organizations and how it is that the city can directly support you in that. And also being able to really, I think, promote civic voice as something that's important to us as a community and be sure that we're making sure that geographically that's represented across the city as well. So although this is a great turnout, there are many neighborhoods and geographies that are not covered. And a part of this, or a part of the goal of this effort, is to make sure that we can hear from all neighborhoods across the city. The neighborhood council will be comprised of resident representatives from neighborhoods and neighborhood organizations across the city, and will also serve as an advisory council or board to the mayor. So I did the quick roll call of all of the organizations that are here, but you'll also have the opportunity later on in our breakout sessions to discuss who we might have left out of this conversation and who else you might like to see at the table. Um, Neighborhood councils are recognized as best practice across the nation, but I really believe the strength of ours will be that we are creating it together from the beginning. This is our very first sort of public conversation, and there are also some folks from City Hall joining us today. It's their first time engaging in this conversation as well, so we're really all meeting at the same place and are hoping to develop this together. On our agenda tonight, we'll have some remarks from the mayor, as well as our new executive director of the Department of community investment. But overall, this is about listening and learning from you guys about how we can better serve you. We'll give you further instructions a little bit later on about how to get into your breakout rooms, but it will be important that you're able to change your name to not Michael Altenberger so that we can get those assignments done appropriately. We'll also be recording this event, so at any point, if you need to hop out, we will be following up with the recording as well as some follow-up asks of you. And I also just want to give a big, amazing shout out to our AmeriCorps members who have been coming to your meetings and sharing back information with us, really just the boots on the ground for a lot of our engagement work in neighborhoods. And they're also in the background making sure that everything runs smoothly in this virtual environment. And at the same time, I'd like to take some time to introduce our team. And if you could, team, squad, just say hi so folks can see your face. So our AmeriCorps members are Ryan Riker, Heaven Hudson, Alex Underwood, David Cholak, and Courtney Crew. If you're on, say hi in the chat. Make sure you're taking yourself off mute. AmeriCorps, can you say hi?
Hello, everyone. Good to see all your faces.
Wonderful.
How's everyone doing this evening?
And everyone is being logged in under Michael Altenberger's name, who is our In Focus project manager and the true MVP of this team. So can the real Mike Altenberger still stand up or please stand up?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. It's very weird to see my name that many times. So sorry about that, but thanks for your patience with this.
Our team is also composed of our empowerment specialist, Marty Mechtenberg, and our new engagement specialist, Dominique Edwards.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
So our team's hope is that this council creates a governance structure needed to improve communications between neighborhood and the city administration, just really enabling us to be more effective and responsive as servants. And before I transition to the mayor for his comments, I would also like to introduce some of those servants that are here today. I know we have Councilmember McBride from the 3rd District, Councilmember Niezgodsky from the 6th District, Councilmember Lee from the 1st District, and Councilmember Heyman at Large, who's also the chair of the Community Relations Committee, which could be an important partner in this effort as well. And then my city colleagues, if you could also just say hi as I call your name: Pam Meyer, Director of Neighborhoods; Liz Meredith, Director of Neighborhood Development; Angela Rose, our Principal Planner; and Denise Rydell, our Chief Innovation Officer. And all of these folks will be a huge part of helping move this along and making sure that we really hit the target, a target that's good for neighborhoods and making sure that we're able to respond. So if the mayor is on now, and hopefully not on as Michael Altenberger, I would love him to come forward and just give us little remarks and encouragement, a little bit of his vision for neighborhoods as well. Mayor Mueller, are you there?
I'm here, and good evening, everyone. It's good to see you, if only virtually, and it's been a strange year, to say the least, that I'm seeing team members I know have joined the team, but I haven't been able to see some of them in person yet. So welcome aboard, Dominique, who's joined the team here recently, as well as many of the AmeriCorps volunteers who are on. So look forward to getting back to a place where we can join together physically and in the same room and get out more and meet with the rest of you as well in the neighborhood. So I guess this is the first message that's on everyone's mind is, where are we in COVID-19? And as you know, you watching the numbers, we're encouraged that they've come down here locally. We may have gotten past the worst of it, and the vaccines are starting to getting out into people, and that's hopeful. And yet, there's the curveball of new variants that are more contagious. And so, the news today that the Biden administration said, we think we'll have vaccines by the end of summer for everyone. That's great news that hopefully we can put this pandemic behind us once and for all by the end of summer. And the more vaccines we get out, the safer we'll be. And in particular, the next 8 weeks are as we worry about the new variants taking hold, are critical because the most vulnerable members of our community are set to get vaccinated in the next 8 weeks. So, the long-term care facilities that account for a large portion of deaths in the past year will have theirs completed here shortly. And then those over age of 60 who account for the vast majority of other issues and deaths over the past year will have their vaccine hopefully in the next 2 months. So if we can get through these next 2 months, we'll be in great shape. It won't reach everyone. I'll be, I'm not, I thought I was getting older, but when I looked at the New York Times list of where I fell in the vaccine distribution, I think I was 98 out of 100 in that line. So even though I thought I've been getting older over the years, apparently I'm still low risk enough to be toward the end of the line. So hopefully May or June, you'll see the mayor get his vaccine, and then we'll really be ready to rock and roll. And then the work of the recovery has already begun, and in the city's offering, we got a money for a revolving loan fund, and that we're taking applications for that. And I'm sure some of you may have seen the news today that our restaurant innovation grants program is starting later this week, and that's really for local small businesses. Many of them will be in neighborhoods. I think we've found about 250 restaurants across the city that should be able to take advantage of that program. So really, we want to have our local businesses and the character and flavor of our neighborhoods to make it through this dark time and be able to employ and bring back vibrancy to our neighborhoods once we're able to go out more safely. So that's on that side. As you know, one of the top priorities from my campaign was reforming our public safety systems. And so, that work continues, and there's over 50 recommendations from the consultant 21CP that we're working through, and look forward to make progress on that. But then neighborhoods is also the other key, the cornerstone of what we talked about, and know that we need to make serious strides here in the coming years. And so I'm excited to see this council form. This was something that, I don't know, Alkina, when I talked about this first, but we went through multiple iterations of thought and how to implement this. And then I left the run for mayor, and then last year obviously has been a challenge to get a lot of things going. And know the engagement team in particular, a pandemic is not conducive for the kind of work and engagement we want to do. So out of all the teams in the city, I think I could probably say they're one of the ones that really want to see these social distancing measures come to an end, because they want to get out there and be with you and see what we can do to partner and move our neighborhoods forward. We are working on a substantial neighborhood infrastructure package that will start with roads. Are in particular bad shape, and those in neighborhoods have deteriorated. And so there, as part of the budget process, we will have a bond issuance to try to start catching up on our roads, and we'll be releasing a comprehensive roads plan here in the next couple of weeks. So, on those things, I encourage everyone here to take a look at that plan when it's released and let us know if we've missed any particular sore points on this is roads. That we know there are a lot of other neighborhood issues that we're going to keep working on and trying to come up with comprehensive plans for. But this one, every road segment actually gets rated 1 to 10, and so again, if you're able to at least check to see that the roads in worse condition or the worst condition in your neighborhoods are accurately reflected in that scoring system, because we're doing this to make sure that we have no failed roads in our community, and then continue to improve and raise the bar of our average road condition over time. And neighborhood infrastructure is not, in many ways, not complicated like other policies or other issues facing it, but it is challenging in that it costs money, and we just have to identify resources to build out and maintain the infrastructure system that we have. Another piece, I guess, just it's a little behind the curtain or whatever. It shouldn't matter as much to you, but we're hoping that the end result pays great dividends for our neighborhood's agenda. Is, we alluded to it, but a lot of structural changes to how the Department of Community Investment works. And so, the AmeriCorps Volunteers being over there is one component of this. Our sustainability office will be a part of this. This may have not been at the top of everyone's minds last year, but the integration of a neighborhoods team led by Pam Meyer, and then now Liz Meredith too, is combining our what was our code enforcement department and our neighborhood development team. So trying to figure out how to integrate that fully that work continues. And this is probably not as big for this team, but our planning and building department teams are also working to be integrated as well. So we don't want to bore you with the details or the inner workings of and structure of the government, but we do hope these will lead to good and tangible outcomes for our neighbors. And then the work for incremental development continues to figure out how to unlock all of this in neighborhoods, as many of you are involved with our team on these efforts. So anyway, we're very excited to have you here. We're excited to have this council, and please don't be shy about feedback of how we want this to be useful, but it's a way where we can come together. We know there are neighborhood issues that we need to address citywide that are common across neighborhoods, as well as unique issues that neighborhoods would like to see addressed as well. So this is a way to learn from each other, share with each other, and make sure that we're communicating in the best way possible, both us communicating what's going on in the city and you communicating what you'd like to see us do better. So with that, I appreciate you guys and joining a Zoom. I know everyone's zoomed out at this point, so appreciate joining the Zoom format, and do hope to get in person as soon as we can do so safely. And with that, I'll turn it over to, I believe our executive director, Santi Garces, is next to offer some of his vision for this new organization and what we hope to accomplish.
And Santi, if I could just jump in and also say that we've had Jatin Kane, the Deputy Director of Public Works, join us, as well as Dan Buckenmeyer, Director of Business Development. So if you guys can just, say hi or say hi in the chat, and Santi, you can go on with your remarks.
Definitely. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Well, foremost, I want to thank everyone for being here late tonight, and also special thanks to Alpina and the engagement team that have spent so much time and effort putting together this. This has been months of preparation on getting this ready, and special thanks to the mayor as well for giving me the opportunity to serve and help carry out the vision of the residents and his vision for the neighborhoods. So just putting a little bit of context around what we're doing today, hopefully building some level of excitement. As Alpina put in the agenda, I'm supposed to be encouraging all of you. So the first piece is, I think that there's a number of obviously really difficult things that the pandemic has imposed, and obviously a terrible death toll on the entire country and the entire world. But it's also given us an opportunity to rethink some opportunities to do things differently. So the first thing that we're hoping to keep after the pandemic is leveraging digital tools to do better engagements. Obviously, right now we're convening via Zoom, but I want to announce and share with you another tool that we're planning on bringing along, which is our digital engagement tool. So there's a website, initially just a website, but we're trying to expand it much broadly than that, where we want to share with you and with the residents, your neighbors, and everyone in the city, what are the projects and initiatives that are going on in the city, and then get feedback on those. And in some sense, the meeting that we're having today, hopefully is part of the beginning of a larger governance process that we have around how we're taking input from residents. As the mayor said, one of his instructions to us is figure out how is it that we can make sure that the residents are heard, and make sure that we know that one of the things that can be frustrating around these processes is not knowing how is it that your voice is going to impact decision making. So we're working on not only the tools, but also the process by which we help make sure that you have a voice and have control over the work that's happening in the city. So again, we're working on continuing that process, and as the mayor said, the invitation to help us double check our work, but also be active parts of the conversation and steering the direction of the city is critical to us. The first piece that we'll be sharing on that digital engagement tool, and again, just shout out to two of our newest members of the team, Angela Rose and then Dominique Edwards, who have both been leading this effort of getting the engagement tool ready. The first things that we'll be sharing is this year we'll be working on 4 neighborhood plans, one for Kennedy Park, one for Northeast neighborhood, another one for Rum Village, and then another one for the near West Side. So this is a very ambitious agenda, and obviously made difficult by the pandemic. So we have been trying to be as creative as possible, and we're trying to make sure that we're getting the voices and the vision of the neighbors into these plans. So that's why we decided to launch this digital engagement tool, and we're hoping that it sticks and it's well used, and it's something that gives us an opportunity for better engagement moving on. Just giving maybe a little bit of details around what the mayor alluded to in terms of the job of piecing together the different components of this new Department of Community Investment, including the building department and code enforcement and neighborhood. So we have in Pam Meyer an amazing leader that is helping bring together a more global view of the neighborhoods and what is it that the city can bring to bear to make our neighborhoods spaces that provide affordable housing, great places to live, that are safe, that lead to wealth and to well-being for our residents. So we're working on how is it that we, again, like our objectives are, how is it that we can work on across the spectrum and helping improve the outcomes for the city. How is it that we make sure that we're helping drive like making sure that we have great housing, making sure that we are retaining wealth in the neighborhood, and making sure that as the city traverses, hopefully we come out of the pandemic in an even stronger economic standing than we were going in, that we're able to not only survive, but also thrive. That we're doing that while maintaining and preserving the people that have been in these neighborhoods for a long time. So we'll be working with them and ensuring that working with with all of our teams on small scale development, incremental development, as tools to allow people to have alternative forms of income, of retaining control over their properties, of being able to bring more wealth and new opportunities of development in the neighborhoods, and doing that in an incremental way, in a way that is respecting the economics of the communities that are in our city. So anyways, there's a lot more, and it is an exciting time and an exciting opportunity to serve under Mayor Mueller. And just again, we're extremely grateful for his leadership and for the council as well, that are the council members that are here. So I'll turn it over to Alkina, not to extend my time, but again, just lean in and zoom in. That hopefully the virtual platform is not putting you off, and in some sense encourages you to be candid and open with us, and help us shape what this group can be to make decisions and lead to great outcomes for the city.
Always do that. Thank you so much, Santi. We can go ahead and transition to Dominique, who has some introductions on how we're going to break up into breakout sessions and really get into the meat of this conversation. So I think there might be a couple of you who may have lingering either name or Mike Altenberger. If you could try to change that over, but Dominique also probably has a solution to that. So you're on, Dominique.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. At this time, we will have our breakout sessions. So everyone will be guided into a breakout room. And so you should be receiving a notification for that shortly. And so in our breakout sessions, you will have a facilitator and a note taker. And so we'll spend some time basically just discussing a few questions that we have for you. So you will provide your facilitator and your note taker with input and feedback on a few questions such as what does a successful neighborhood council look like to you? So let's go ahead and get started and jump into our rooms. And so if you have any additional questions, please provide your facilitator with the questions, as well as if you happen to come in a little bit later, we'll also give you some instruction on how to change your name if you're showing up as Mike Altenberger still, or if you're just saying name. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And so we just finished our breakout discussions and whatnot. And so basically we're going to take the time right now to talk about what we heard. So would anybody like to go first to discuss some of the things that we chatted about?
I'm going to volunteer my room to go first, but I wonder if Conrad or Fred or Bill wants to, or Margie wanted to sum up a little bit of what we talked about. Sorry to put you on the spot. We should have talked about this.
I'll defer to my fearless leader, Conrad.
I thought we were going to have a cheat sheet to go by. The recorder.
We should. I don't know. Heaven, can you share your screen? Is that, there we go. See if this helps, Conrad.
Well, with my eyesight, it doesn't do a great job.
Oh, sorry.
We talked about a variety of things.
Evan, put us on like 120% perhaps.
Our group was had a lot of Southeast people from Monroe Park and the near Southeast neighborhood, and then we also had Northeast neighborhood representative, and so Monroe Park and Southeast and Northeast. We talked a lot about affordable housing, both for rehabbing houses and building new houses. It was suggested that we have landlord education so that they do a good job of maintaining the neighborhood. All neighborhoods need to own homelessness throughout the city. and we should have ways of doing cleanups and retain our neighbors by rehabbing their homes, especially for the elderly. Well, you can read these. I don't need to read them all to you, but you can see those concerns that I think probably most of our neighborhoods have. Marty then wanted us to talk about the logistics for being involved in this council. And so I don't know that we came up with any definitive. We didn't think there should be a limit to the term, and we thought that the determination of who represents and for how long should be left up to the neighborhoods. So after that, I think that's probably enough.
Well, given the time, that's probably enough. We also talked about just I think Conrad brought up, the neighborhood council having independence from the city too, and being able, being free and able to speak its voice, even if that runs contrary maybe to what city wants to hear occasionally.
Yes.
Thank you all for sharing. This is awesome. Does anybody else want to go ahead and discuss what they, or kind of put forth what they discussed in breakout room?
I would like to add one thing that I was discussing in our breakout room, same one with Conrad and Marty, is that, what I've recognized over the years that we've been working with SOAR, and I've seen this in other neighborhood associations as well. The main issue has been, awareness about them. I mean, there's a lot of people in our neighborhood that don't even know we have a neighborhood association, no matter what we do, passing out flyers, barbecues, whatever else. So, my main question is, how do we go about generating awareness about this council, as well as the individual neighborhood associations? How do we get our neighbors in the community as a whole and individually to buy into what we're trying to do, and then get them to contribute to what we're trying to do? Because, if you're looking at, if you go into a neighborhood association meeting, you may have a few thousand people there, but maybe there's 5 people at the meeting. So how do we become more effective at getting people to buy in and contribute to what we're trying to do? And it starts with awareness. What does that campaign look like? To get people to, they say, oh, really, we have a neighborhood association, and then move from there.
I would also like to stress that in LaSalle Park, there's still the issue of grant money to build, because we have our licenses, we have our CDC, we've surveyed the neighborhood, and really the thing that we're looking for now is grant money so that we can build, because we've also purchased the land. So I just want to make sure that that's recognized.
Thanks, Stacy. Good work on keeping it up, keeping it going. Anyone from Group 1? Miss Sanford?
The notes.
Ms. Courtney, can you pull the notes up for us?
Thank you. I gotta make them big enough so I can read them. We talked a lot about increasing some of the similar things to, sorry, it's kind of moving. We talked about like more neighborhood engagement. I think, sorry, I'm missing some of the first questions. Can you?
Okay, I can also
sorry.
add to it if you want to.
Okay. So we talked about trash issues and reaching out to several things. One, we talked about acts of kindness grants and how that can extend into other things in the neighborhood beyond, with also Love Your Block. We talked about one thing was interesting, which I didn't know about, was a lot of the apartment people who live in rentals, that they don't have access if their landlord does not provide recycling and yard waste bins, that is something, how the city can work with those renters to be able to get that, because if that's not an option, then you're gonna have more trash and waste on the street, and then you're gonna have issues with that, which can also create a safety issue. Talk about how to work with more volunteers, and also sharing information amongst each others, amongst each of our neighborhood groups, and how we can, sorry, it's not scrolling very well.
Thanks.
Thank you, yeah. We talked about how we, as a neighborhood, like how many term limits. One of the things that came up with the term limits was like one with possibly renewal for 2 years with the city. And also we talked about meeting quarterly or possibly every 2 years. And what else? I can't scroll down to the other notes.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Because that was pretty much it. I mean, other things were said with the last with Marty's group. So
We thought that the term should be, what did we say? 1 year with the opportunity to renew. One thing that I thought was good was that folks thought that neighborhood should have a direct liaison to be able to just call the city and say, we have this question about trash, we have this question about safety, rather than calling 311. So I think that that was a good point that came out as group one as well. And we talked a lot about just generally for neighborhoods, there being a challenge around participation and just sustaining engagement and how the council can help with that as well.
We also talked about meeting every 2 months possibly, so that we can then alternate. If we're meeting every month, and then we can go back the following month if there's an issue or question we might have, or any new information to share.
We also talked about building relationships between all of us, so that we know what each other are working on, and also know it's important to the city.
I'm gonna go with the next group, the group that I was in, and I think I'm gonna call on a couple folks, like Miss Webster or Miss Walsh. Would you guys like to share what we talked about? Ryan, can you pull up the notes, please?
We talked about engagement within our own neighborhoods, and then in general engagement with each other across the city, and exactly how that might be accomplished. Are there notes here? We also talked about the possibility of providing tools for this type of engagement. And especially during this time when we can't physically meet, to be able to cross-communicate in an efficient way. We talked about public safety in our own neighborhoods and citywide, and how to maybe address those issues and engaging in alternative ways to assist with these, to assist the youth, so they have better connections with each other, and ways to entertain themselves, basically, things to do. And that's difficult too right now because of COVID, and the youth probably have a very hard time getting together. Let's see, what else did we talk about? We did talk about how we would envision the neighborhoods association getting together, and we thought once a month might be a good plan, at least to begin with, at least to pull it together, because Luella pointed out that if we don't stay on it right at the beginning, we would stand a chance of possibly losing the initial fire and interest in keeping this organization going. Lou, I'll turn it over to you for further.
Okay. We also talked about attending each other's meetings. We need to know when your organization is meeting, and you need to know when we are meeting so that we could come to your meeting and find out what you're doing. You can come to our meetings and find out what we're doing. And if at some point something should happen in your area, you could call us and we would be there to support you with what it is that you were trying to do. We talked about building a relationship with the police department, with your police officers in your neighborhood. I know all the officers in my neighborhood. When I see a new officer, I stop them in the middle of the street, introduce myself, and find out who they are and what their role is, their title is, and not afraid to talk to the officers. We have got to be comfortable that we have a relationship that we can talk to the officers. But then most of all, we need to know our neighbors. Only time most of us see our neighbors is when we're walking out the door in the morning to go to work, or we're coming home in the evening. We need to build that relationship with our neighbors so that they know who we are in time of need. And if we all need to get together and call upon our neighborhood officer to have a meeting, invite him to my house. Hey, come on, there's a group of us need to talk to you. So we're trying to do that. But mainly we want to be a council that is going to be committed and dedicated to whatever goals that we set to give to the city, give to the mayor, and to get the support of the mayor to back us up on whatever it is that we as a council feel that we should be doing. We need to bring, I said there was a lot of old folks here, and I'm one of the old folks, but we need to figure out a way how we can bring our young people in, that as we retire off of these committees, or we unfortunately die from these committees, there's someone to step into our shoes, but not to fulfill my shoes, but make their own footprints in the sand. And that's the only way that as a council, and a continually growing council, it's going to happen. So those were basically the things that we talked about.
Thank you so much, Ms. Walsh. Thank you so much, Ms. Webster. And so with that, since we are at time, we are going to conclude our event for this evening. And so we do have a survey for you guys to take after we all break and disband. And we'll, of course, be providing you with next steps, which are, we'll be talking about some future meetings and future events in regards to the Neighborhood Council. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate your input, your feedback, your energy. Your energy was really great. And so we really appreciate it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks, you too. Good night.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
And everyone.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Thank you.
Night. Thank you.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.